Activate defenses.
Activate defenses.
Commence countdown.
10 minutes and counting.
9 minutes and counting. 8 minutes and counting. 7 minutes and counting.
6 minutes and counting.
5 minutes and counting. 4 minutes and counting. 3 minutes and counting. 2 minutes and counting.
1 minute and counting.
40 seconds and counting. 10, 9, 8.
Hello, everyone out there. I hope everybody is doing great wherever you are from. First of all, I am doing this in a very different setting, as you can tell. So one of the things I'm going to ask you to do, please, is to let me know, can you hear me? I don't have my usual mic. I don't have any of those types of things. I am sitting here in my hotel room. Can everybody hear me? This is like really important that I don't speak for, 20 minutes with nobody being able to hear. So the first person that says you can hear me, we can start the show. I am going to leave the comments on, but I am going to ask everybody to please work with me. This is a huge bit of trust. If you have seen the movie, if you are lucky enough to see the movie, please do not talk about the movie. Please do not give any spoilers. I like to give my initial reactions. I'm in a hotel room. My lovely wife is packing. You're going to hear noise. This is a very real thing. I'm sitting in front of a window. There's no professional lighting. This is guerrilla warfare at its best. And I'm here to tell you this is a no spoiler zone, meaning I'm not going to give anything away. Okay, I'm pledged, quite frankly, not to do that because I don't want to ruin anything. I took notes. Look at this. I got my handy dandy Bond Experience notebook. Not available anywhere, right? And I'm going to go over top level, high level reactions that I have. That is it, okay? So here we go. Before we even get into this, I have to give some acknowledgement. London has been an incredible ride, an incredible trip, 100% of it due to just people. Meeting so many people that I've only known online has been unbelievable. And I see a lot of them here. I saw Paul Lally in here. I see a lot of people that I met on the red carpet or at the Hippodrome or just walking the streets, Burlington Arcade. It's been amazing. I do want to acknowledge a lot of people behind the scenes. People from the brands have been so kind in giving us incredible access and incredible tours, all of which we've been video recording for a later date. We've got amazing surprises that we were a part of that we haven't even put on Instagram, that we're waiting for the videos to be edited to bring to you, that I think you're going to love. This is going to be months in the making, I trust me. The other thing I want to talk about is something incredible happened a few weeks ago. A few Bond fans were contacted in the United States by United Artists Releasing, and it was with just a simple offer. They wanted to use a handful of fans to target other fans to go to a United States screening close to where they live, multiple screenings across the United States. This was a part of the 57 city screenings that were happening on September 28th. I was thrilled to be a part of one of those individuals that United Artists Releasing connected with to target some individuals to go to an early screening. So you had, I reached out to the Bond Armory, Commando Bond, Bond's Apartment, Omega Bond Watches, John Williams, Easy Smile and Beautiful Watches, a host of other people to attend. And they got to see an early screening with the press, actually, at press screenings across the United States. So they got to see it early. They're going to have their reaction. They were sworn to secrecy. They were sworn to no spoilers. So they'll be bringing their own perspective. So go make sure you follow them as well to get their point of view. They had an amazing time. And I think this was, the reason I bring it up is this is unprecedented. We talk about the separation of church and state with the production people and with the distribution folks and the brands. This was really a coming together of fans and the companies. And it's like nothing I've ever seen before. There was a lot of trust and there was a lot of embracing of that. And it shows. It really does. So All right. So right now, No Time to Die is showing up on Rotten Tomatoes at about 83%. That's pretty dang high. All right. And again, no spoilers for those of you that have just joined. Yes, Gray Mac. This was very heady. I was on the Phil and Holly show this morning on ITV just a couple days ago. And I think a part of my relaxed nature on that show was because I didn't realize how monstrous this show was until my YouTube channel started to go. And then I think overnight I gained 1,600 new subscribers to YouTube. So it was pretty special. There were some other things, daily news and some newspapers, but we'll get into that. First of all, it should be said that my first viewing of No Time to Die was at the Royal Albert Hall. Red carpet event was great. Not here to talk about that. That's a whole other video. But I have to be frank with you about the Royal Albert Hall. First of all, you're sitting like this. The seats are very small. You're very uncomfortable. You're in a tuxedo and it just rained. So you're in a wool straitjacket, drying off. You're like this sitting, poor Danielle, I'm like sitting on top of her and she's crunched in between Mark O'Connell's husband and me. And we're kind of leaning onto her and she's poor thing. But it's not comfortable. The other thing is it's not a great sound environment to watch a movie. The movie looked crisp, but it's kind of like, the dialogue is like this. And so you're missing some things. So there was already a ding against that. I didn't want to do this review the day after because I wanted to make sure that I saw second viewing. So we were invited to, Oliver Brown had a screening event last night and we went to it. It was great. Libation, food, good people, and then we saw the movie. So I've seen it twice. So it was so much better because we saw it in Everyman Theater, which is a great theater, great sound, great picture. I could hear everything. I heard the plot. I heard the dialogue. And thank goodness, because the first time I saw the Royal Albert Hall, I'm like, the plot, where am I going with this, etc. Now I can give it a real review. So first of all, let me start off with the actors. I will say that I found this was an actor's movie. And again, no plot points, no spoilers here. Daniel Craig does some of his best acting, not just in the Bond films, but in any of his films. He really brings his acting chops to the table and it shows a lot of emotion, a lot of connection. He does both funny well and he does both emotionally serious scenes and he does badass moments incredibly well. So this is a Daniel Craig Bond movie. I mean, he does it really well as far as the acting is concerned, in my opinion. Léa Seydoux, I know she gets dinged. I may have dinged her in the past for Spectre. Kind of one note, kind of yelling and things like that. Are we buying the connection? I found Léa Seydoux to be, and I'm going to say it, I think her acting chops were incredible in this. Again, emotional, very emotional moments she brings to the table. Her dialogue, sometimes just her face alone and her expressions brought so much to the table. She did an amazing job. And the ancillary characters, I hate to call them level 2 characters, but, Moneypenny and Tanner, Q, they all acted incredibly well. There was no disconnect in the acting chops of these people. As I saw it the second time, I really watched the acting, and it really brought a resonance and a relevance to the plot. And where there might have been some plot holes, I found that I was just really enjoying actors being actors and connecting and really getting into their characters. I will say, and I'll say this, this is Q's best role, and it's not that, he was surrounded by gadgets or anything. We'll get into that in a second. It's just that I thought Q in this role in this movie was absolutely fantastic. Why? Because he brought all the levels that I love of a Bond movie. He brought, the deep emotion, the connection, forwarding the plot, as well as humor. Yes, humor. And we would expect that of Q, but the way he brought it and the gravitas of the film at the same time, I thought Ben Whishaw knocked it out of the freaking park. And although Moneypenny doesn't have a huge role, I think what she did was well connected. Ralph Fiennes is very good in this, and he brings the persnickety nature of the M's that we've known of old. And there was really a lot of questions, that were brought up in M's portrayal and the plot that he forwards along that I really found intriguing. Then you've got ancillary characters like Paloma, which again, no plot details or anything like that. But I would say that for me, she was by far my favorite new character, including, I'm going to include in there the bad guy. So if you take the bad guy, if you take all the ancillary new characters that haven't showed up in the previous films, by far she was my favorite. And when you watch the film, you will find out why. When you think of the fun factor of Bond films, when you watch a Bond film on a Christmas day, because you just want fun, right? You want candy and things like that. She brings the nostalgic fun factor of a Bond film to you through her character. She's probably one of the most exemplary aspects of this film, where you just walk away going like, oh, that's what I wanted. That's the thrill. That's the fun. That's everything. And she did a great job. And she has levels. I mean, it's not, you've all heard this, it's not a monster role. She's not there for 2 hours and 45 minutes. She doesn't have to be. She's very impactful, which I really loved. I will say this, the Felix Leiter and some of the other moments were very good. They weren't my favorite versions of this. I still kind of like my Felix Leiter and some of the other things. I liked him in Quantum. Yeah, I know, sue me. But I wouldn't, if I added up all the Jeffrey Felix Leiter moments, this probably wouldn't stack the highest. And again, when you see the film, you be the judge of that. And again, I'm staying very nebulous. This is all about people not spoiling, and I'm watching very carefully the chat. I'm going to keep the chat up while you guys are all being so good. You're so respectful of each other. With close to 300 people in the room, have to be. The action in this film is exactly what I wanted from a Bond film. The gunplay in this film is so good and so abrupt and so raw at times, almost shocking. I'm going to say that. And here I am. I'm a John Wick fan. I love John Woo movies. I love me some violence. But this for a Bond film was like, whoa. The gunplay and the handplay, the hand-to-hand action was abrupt. And it wasn't like Batman up close where you couldn't follow the action. You could really see, Daniel Craig. That was him. And that is some incredible Bond moments, but also other people doing the gunplay. Lashana Lynch's character, Nomi, that goes into some incredible action, hand-to-hand gunplay moments. And so overall, when I take kind of the action of what I'm talking about, like gunplay, not vehicles, but gunplay and things like that, this is probably, I'm going to say, this is probably out of the Daniel Craig movies, this has got to be the best when it comes to that aspect. Okay. Gadgetry was minimal. And I don't think it's any, you've seen the trailer, so I don't think it's a giveaway that, he's got some subtle gadgetry moments. This is not the gadget movie. If you're going to James Bond to watch a gadget movie, this is not it. I think gadgetry is used appropriately, but it is minimal. Whereas vehicle play is very high. You have a lot of Aston Martins. Few of them are used to great effect. And the chase scenes from a vehicle standpoint are very good. One in particular is I felt a little short. And I think we already know, there's a Matera chase scene that's very good. There's another vehicle scene that I think was it felt short compared to what I thought it was going to be. And so I think I would have liked a little bit longer play there. But the vehicle play mixed with guns, I thought was incredibly effective. I got to go to Sartorial. This is my biggest surprise. So look, I'm the style brand guy. I accept the moniker and the brand, I get it. So from a sartorial standpoint, I liked the film, but there was one aspect of me, I desperately wanted to see a new outfit or a new piece of clothing that I hadn't seen before. And I heard rumor before this started that we were going to get a scene where they were going to show Daniel Craig in an outfit that we hadn't seen before. And we didn't see that scene. We didn't see that outfit. Maybe it was on the cutting room floor, etc. But the RGT jacket, you see it for 7 seconds in his garage, and that's about it. And I was like, it wouldn't be cool to see him driving in the Aston Martin in that outfit. I think the suits steal the show. The Tom Ford suits, when he's speaking to The different characters really do steal the show. They look the part. They look great. It's part of his transformation out of retirement into Bond. His retirement clothes are appropriate in with the story and the plot. Makes a lot of sense now. His Matera outfit makes a lot of sense now. I will say the one outfit that steals the show is his trench coat that they show with the gunplay in Norway. And again, not giving anything away, that green loaded trench coat kind of steals the show. Really moves well, makes a lot of sense for him to be wearing that. I liked it. But I was kind of hankering for like, oh my gosh, it's Bond in a new outfit, a new accessory, new sunglasses, something like that. The reality is we've collected, some of us on here, we've collected it for like 19 months, this stuff. And there really isn't a new piece that I could collect. It's talk about being a completist. This is it for the sartorial moments. Music. I want to talk about music. And Kevin O'Connell, I think you're right. I think a lot of this plot and film has polarized fans, and we're going to get to that in a second. But for the music standpoint, I liked the Hans Zimmer music in here. I think it served certain purposes. But for those of you that have seen this, there are some throwback moments within the music. I don't know. I mean, I enjoyed them, but I don't know how much they furthered the plot along. I kind of like stepped back and thought, are those nostalgic music cues kind of pushing things along, or are they there for more atmosphere than anything? So I kind of had to think about that a little bit. One thing I do have to address is Cary Fukunaga, because the action that we're talking about, the interplay, the plot, the acting, comes from a deep soul of the director. And this guy did a great job. I think he put all the parts and pieces together. The thing he delivered in spades was the balance of funny and serious. And we've had Quantum of Solace serious. We've had Casino Royale kind of mix. We've had Spectre kind of being silly at times, but not being successful. This film did funny well, meshed it really nicely in with some serious moments to give us a little bit of a reprieve, a little bit of a break. And I appreciated that. And I think the funny moments did very well, but I would say it was more serious. It was more of an emotional movie for me. And it's kind of in two parts. For me, the first 45 minutes felt a little bit different than the middle act, and certainly very different than the third act. The third act, and a couple of people have said this, thank you for like keeping it spoiler free, polarizing. The third act, maybe even you could call it the fourth chapter of this film, is very polarizing for people. I found in my second viewing, the first 75%, I just was along for the ride. I was like, here we go. This is fantastic. Story flow, accepting of the characters, Bond's portrayal, all the things I enjoy, amazing cheering type moments. I'm there. And then the last quarter of the film, I felt a little bit polarized too. However, I'm going to get into something. I think I needed to do, and this is a real thing I wanted to talk to you about. I need to deconstruct my experience, my expectations. And I'll tell you why. Over the last 2 years, maybe more, I've been building this movie in my head, especially during lockdown. I've started to put the plot together in my head. I looked at the trailers and the images, and I started to become the writer of this film and a bit of the director, right? And I started to say, here's what I want out of this film. And I went into it with such a strong feeling of this is what my Bond film is going to be. And I know you shouldn't do that. Everybody was like, dude, stop it. Go in with a blank slate. I'm like, how am I going to do that? I've dreamt of this film. That when I went in there and I was met with some of the decisions, the writing decisions of this film, it was like, wait a minute, whoa, that's not my film. Where's my film? Upon second viewing, I let myself into the gravitas of things, into the decisions, and I was able to successfully peel myself back and say, this is not the film, that I wrote in my head. This is the film that they've made a decision on. And like everything, like art, it's interpretive. So I go back to again, nope, plot points here. The trailer said this will change everything. And it did. It did. You have to release the idea of certain tropes. You have to release the idea of certain traditions and certain nostalgia. Safin, for example, as a bad guy, there were moments where I was wanting to follow more about his motivations. And I don't know if I found his motivations as clear as I wanted them to be versus other bad guys that I love in the James Bond series, where I'm like, oh, yes, that's why the bad guy's doing it. He loves gold, or he's after revenge of MI6 because of what M did to him, like in Skyfall. The motivation of the bad guy for me drives the plot. It drives the expectation. So in my mind, as I was writing this movie, Safin had clear motivations. And I thought at times there was, I kind of was like, all right, is it as strong as it could have been? But as I stepped back and looked at this as Cary Fukunaga's movie, Daniel Craig's movie, the producer's movie, not David Zaritsky's movie, I could really appreciate the beautiful aspect of this, the emotional aspect of it. The fact that, first of all, it looks amazing. And we all ding Spectre for the way it looks. But quite frankly, I thought this movie looked lavish, beautiful. And I will say something very strongly. The women roles, and I know there was a lot of discussion going into this about, the women, is it going to be like over the top, like some of the Marvel moments, etc. I thought the badass women moments like Shauna Lynch and Ana de Armas and obviously Léa Seydoux were well done. They were badass, but not club your head, badass moments. Léa Seydoux's character, Madeline, is amazing. I'm not even going to say what she does, but she doesn't sit there, screaming like a damsel in distress. She does some amazing badass moments, and she becomes, part of the action. She's not just a part of the drama. And I love that they made those decisions. But decisions, I mean, I have to say that as I look back, and again, staying very nebulous with these things, am I satisfied with the end? I'm satisfied that the producers and Daniel Craig, this is their movie, and I'm accepting of that. And is it everything I would have wanted? Happily for them, I don't make those decisions. I go to the movies. It hit some amazing nostalgic notes. This is my second viewing. I'll have to do more. I really like this film. I have to say, I know it's going to be polarizing. I really like it. And I think I'm going to like it with more and more viewings. But there is something abrupt when you go into an expectation and say, all right, this is Daniel Craig's last film. I love his films. I do. He's my second favorite Bond actor after Sean Connery. Here's what I want it to be. Here's what I want, that celebratory moment. And you have to step back and go, these decisions are made. And maybe this film will make me think more. Maybe this film will change my view of things a little bit more. And I have to be a little bit more accepting of that. To me, it's not about compromise. I'm not compromising my James Bond. I'm accepting the fact that I go to movies. I sit in the theater in the cinema like I've done in the last few days, and I want to be entertained, but I don't know if I want to be placated. I don't know if, it's not Mad Libs of movies. It's not like, hey, room service. I'm sorry, I called in for a Bond movie and you didn't, you left the eggs off. I don't think I want that. I do want their interpretation, and they gave it to us. So I think it's going to take time for me to wrap my head around everything of this and then think about, the movement forward. But I would say this. I would say right now, it's going to be impossible for me to rank this, even amongst Daniel Craig's film. I want to go see this in IMAX. I want to see it alone. I know that sounds like really isolating, but I do want to see it alone. I think there were so many things that I have to take into mind, so much excitement around London, so many distractions. Even last night's viewing, which I could actually hear the film itself, had wonderful distractions of, people drinking and popcorn and friends, nudging me like this. I want to sit alone in a theater in the IMAX, the way the movie was meant to be seen, and see it. And that's how I want to experience it. And then eventually, weeks down the line, I'm going to be giving a review that has spoilers in it. So stay tuned for that. But for now, I'm certainly shaken a little stirred, but overall, I'm so excited. We finally have the 25th movie, No Time to Die. I'm super excited for all of you to see it. Eventually, I want to hear your opinions. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for keeping this spoiler free. I've been keeping an eye on this, but you all are amazing. And here's the reality. It may be 3 to 5 years until we get a new movie. So the one thing we've got to do, no matter what, no matter whether you're polarized or you think it's the best movie or the worst movie or it's not the movie you wanted, this Bond community is still everything and more that we expected. My expectation of meeting people that I've only known online here in London, and next week, other destinations we'll be going to, and the week after, other destinations. Those people, you people, are exceeding expectations constantly. And I really adore this community. I'm sorry. I know I sound like, I don't get paid for this. Okay. This is my hobby. This is my community. And I think you're just all fan-freaking-tastic. And you have opinions, and that's great. And this was my opinion. So I'm going to leave you to it. And guess what? This has been David Zaritsky for what? Yeah. The Bond Experience. And I'm going to see you all soon. Take care, everybody. Be well out there. Thanks for watching this episode. If you want to be up on the latest from the Bond Experience, just click on this subscribe and subscribe to our channel. You're going to get all the latest and greatest information, plus some exclusive content. And by the way, speaking of content, here's something especially for you, just because we know you. Talk to you soon.